Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. This is a Super Bowl 55 recap. And this Super Bowl basically proved everything that we've talked about. We know that the national perspective is going to be crawl up and roll around in his shit and forget everything else. It's all Brady. It couldn't be anything else. So this is going to be a different take than the national. All the takes that you're just going to hear the same old thing all over again. My take on this game is a tale between two lines. The lines of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the lines of the Kansas City Chiefs. And what all I want to say is, if you were to put Tom Brady behind the Kansas City Chiefs O-line, Brady would have got knocked out of that game. He wouldn't have ever made that to the fourth quarter. As bad as Mahomes' foot was, he's a lot more mobile than Brady ever would be. So had you put I'm trying to put the quarterback into perspective. So, and I guess the best way is, had Brady been behind the Chiefs line, he would have got killed. Plain and simple. He would have been done. The score probably would be the same, if not worse, for the Chiefs. And do you want the cat? No, not until I'm done with this. Here. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, so talking about Tom Brady behind the Kansas City Chiefs line, I think that if you want to crawl up Brady's asshole, that's one thing. But put it in perspective. And I'm not saying Brady's a bad quarterback or anything like that, and he doesn't deserve accolades. I'm not saying that. But I'm trying to put this, it's not about quarterbacks. It's about the people that surround the quarterback. And STR before this game was just going on and on, specifically Stokely. And I have a problem with him because the guy's about as dumb as a stump. He was going on about how the Tampa Bay, just player personnel-wise, are basically like a 3 and, I don't know, a 5 and whatever team. And they have absolute studs on that team. And Patrick Mahomes really, during the whole game, just never could get into a rhythm because it looked like the Denver Broncos offensive line. I mean, you have Mahomes running around with like a chicken with his head cut off, and gosh, just imagine, he doesn't do that good. So this totally ignoring the line is just stupid, and it's reckless. It's unacceptable. The Tampa Bay's defensive line was just going through the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line like turnstiles. And what did we say? We said, get that push up the middle, get that push. And you could see how that helped the safeties out. You saw how that helped the corners out of the Tampa Bay, who have actually good safeties and corners, but they are able to position themselves, while, Mahomes is running around like a chicken with his head cut off, hobbling around. And that's probably what kind of held him back, because he wasn't able to just do stuff with his legs as much. He wasn't able to run downfield. He could run around in the backfield, but he couldn't run downfield like he'd like to as the game progressed. But so anyway, for me, the Super Bowl was the tale of two lines. So with that said, I talked my head off. Now go ahead.
No, if you have any more to say, go ahead.
Well, I mean, what I noticed at the beginning of Tampa's first scoring, they were running the football. They were gashing. I saw Tom Brady. Other than one sack, Tom Brady had a clean pocket like he did in New England.
Absolutely.
It looked like New England all over again. The offensive line of the Tampa Bay. I mean, every time he was going to throw, there was always a clean pocket. There was always a pocket for him to work in. That wasn't the case for Mahomes. Like I said, you put Mahomes behind the Tampa Bay line, nothing changes. Tampa Bay wins the game. I don't think Brady would have made it past the third quarter in that, because he can't run around. So the linebacking for I don't. Why did we ever get rid of Shaq Barrett? Okay, and didn't Sports Talk Radio like sell all that? They sold it was all okay to get rid of Shaq Barrett and drum him out of town. So again, why
Absolutely.
do people listen to Denver Sports Talk Radio? Why? I just don't understand it. So I guess that's really my take right now.
Okay. Is it okay if I go ahead?
Yeah,
Or
go ahead.
all right. I gotta be nice on here and stop bashing. But I'm just kidding. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
I can't pay for drama like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Just to bring up 2 points here. This isn't a Jerry Duty jersey. This is Emmanuel Sanders jersey. If you can see it, Emmanuel Sanders kind of.
Yeah, Judy, I see that Judy. Okay.
Come here, Bo.
Don't drop
Come
that.
here.
Don't drop that.
Come here. I also want to, because people think, I just want to bring this up real quick, and I'm just joking around. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Now this dog is not going to.
So if everybody thinks I don't have a German Shepherd, this is him right here. So I can't do anything else than that, or I'll get in trouble. So I just wanted to bring that point up. I'm just joking around with you. I'm not trying to bash you.
You don't even have a German Shepherd.
Yeah, I don't have a German Shepherd. Anyway, that being said, talk about this game. This game proves what me and you have been saying you have, and what have been saying for 5, 6, 7 years now with this whole Denver Broncos team. I don't need to have 40 years of coaching experience to see what I see on a weekly basis when it comes to the Denver Broncos.
See the obvious. See the obvious.
Absolutely. And I'm not trying to make it all about me. I don't know it all. But I'm just trying to tell you guys, I picked Tampa Bay to win this Super Bowl.
So did I.
Because of the offense and defensive lines. And there's 2 linebackers out there. A guy that played for my favorite college team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and Levante David, and a guy named Devin White, who I think are the unsung heroes besides the interior, the defensive line, because they had the speed and the instincts to keep up with the tight ends and with the slot receivers. I think Vita Vea is an unsung hero of this game. That dude was pushing. It didn't matter how much you double teamed him. He would be pushing guys back, and that made JPP's game a lot better and Shaq Barrett's game a lot better. And this offensive line for the Buccaneers, this reminds me so much of the New England Patriots offensive lines. Where they had solid offensive lines, and it's, I know they're going to glorify Tom Brady, but Patrick Mahomes did look human tonight, like I've said for years. He's not throwing 50-yard bombs all the time. Tyreek Hill was neutralized, like I said he would this time. And I like the defensive game plan that the Bucs put out there. And I think this is going to be a blueprint on how to beat the Chiefs going forward.
Well, we're going to see with Sports Talk Radio, they're going to completely ignore the offensive line of the Denver Broncos, not actually looking at Tampa Bay's offensive line as a model. Big mistake. Mm-hmm. They're going to concentrate on the defense. Everything that they do is going to be defense, 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 defense. They are correct to say that the linebacking needs to be upgraded. We've been saying that when they totally ignored it, and but they will probably ignore the interior line of the Denver Broncos, thinking that people like Casey was the answer, even though we have him on tape against Tampa Bay, actually being totally just shut out. And that wasn't just Tampa Bay; it was the Jets, and it was the Pittsburgh, other teams. So again, they will incorrectly want to. They'll want to upgrade corners. Only that's going to solve all the problems in the world. Like they didn't see the interior push that Tampa was getting on right into Patrick Mahomes. It was coming up from the inside, and that allowed the ends to come in and do their job.
Didn't this remind you of how the Denver Broncos played a few years ago? It just reminded me so much of how they played on the defensive side of the football.
Kind of like
when I watched this game,
Super Bowl 50.
Yes, Super Bowl 50. I apologize. Yeah. I think this reminded me so much of. I think this game should be an eye opener for the Denver Broncos because that's how you should be.
Should be.
But will it? But will it? I don't think so because they actually do believe that they have the line set for the future, which is totally boggles my mind at this point. But who knows? The cat has returned. The cat has returned. But I think that a lot of people aren't going to give Vita Vea credit that he deserves. I just that guy, man. This
is an 11. Well, it's a 22 man MVP kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
Sure, Tom Brady was great. Okay, Tom Brady was great, but Tom Brady would never have been great had he been on the Chiefs behind the Chiefs offensive line. It would have been even worse had he been.
He was reading. He reminded me so much of when the Bills played us. He was just reading a book back there the whole game.
Oh yeah,
he could have wrote it. He could have wrote his own book, like my friend was saying earlier. He could have wrote his own book back there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why I know the lines aren't sexy. I get it. But when you get could you imagine if Drew Lock just had that kind of time? I messaged you and said, could you imagine if any Denver Bronco quarterback, any of them would have had that kind of time, even Flacco
or Keenum,
if anybody just would have had that kind of time. And that's all we're pounding the table for, that you do not have a good offensive line. Tampa was facing 3rd and 1s, and they were just powering, except for that. To give Kansas City credit, they did stop
the goal line. On the goal line, yeah.
On that one. But throughout the whole game, that was the only time they did it. They did. Tampa converted on short yard, 3rd down on runs. They just powered their way out.
Yeah, and to talk about that point, let's expand on that. They were not in 3rd and 1s a lot tonight. They just weren't, because their lines were getting that push. Their lines were getting that push, and they were able to get the play action pass going. They were able to get the running game going. Why can't we do that? Why can't, as a coaching, because we don't have the player personnel to do that. They don't have
the player personnel.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think that's a point that needs to be addressed, and we will address it. But to expand on this point as well, there's a guy out there named Tristan Wirfs that was playing right tackle. Why couldn't we trade up 2 spots to get this guy?
No, it's got to be a quarterback. It's got to be a quarterback. That's the only thing. Yeah, there's no 21 other players. There's only one. It's a quarterback.
I don't understand. This is why.
If Deshaun Watson doesn't come to the Denver Broncos, I think Sports Talk Radio should just jump off the top of the highest building and just end it, because that's it. They'll never amount to anything, because Deshaun Watson did not go to the Denver Broncos.
Absolutely.
Because he's better than Tom Brady. He's better than Mahomes. He's Deshaun Watson, right? Even though Drew Lock beat him. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, keep interrupting.
I was going to say, but let's not go there. That's an aberration. That's an aberration. Yeah, that's why we can't go after that right tackle.
That's why in the draft video, I said get Slater from Northwestern. He's a right tackle. He's not maybe he's not as refined as Tristan Wirfs, but he can be that Tristan Wirfs for you for the future. He ain't going to be hot tub time machine and Juwan James. That's exactly what I'm saying here. And when people think I'm bashing the players, I'm like, I just want to get better. Ladies and man, this is where I just get fired up, and this is why I'm so passionate about this. I'm sick and tired of people saying that our offensive defensive line is good enough, so we have to worry about other positions. Really? Jarrell Casey is not Vita Vea. Even Shelby Harris isn't Vita Vea. We don't have a player like that in the middle that can make a Shelby Harris better or a Draymond Jones better. That's where I'm coming from.
That's where we are coming from.
Sorry, that's where we are. Sorry, I'm talking about me now. I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is that's what we've been pounding the table for. I want to get an offensive. To me, this offensive line is really bad.
It's not even to the. It's not to the level. You really think that the Broncos' offensive line is like the Tampa Bay's offensive line?
Not even in the same universe. Matter of fact, let me just say this real quick. Fournette.
You know that's what they're going to say.
No. Well, if they are, they're idiots. Look at Fournette. Fournette washed up where he was at, kicked around. This offensive line made Fournette look like a refreshed, brand new running, like Fournette of old.
Even Gronkowski of old.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we're talking about. I just think people are so wrapped up in getting the sexy names and just worrying about this other sexy positions that they don't understand how football has been started. It started from that's what Tampa Bay's done so well. That's what Kansas City's done so well. That's what Buffalo, Colts, these are teams that have done it the right way. Sorry.
Well, Denver, Oakley Dokley Stokely is a Denver sports talk radio host, former Denver Bronco, former Colt. And I bring him up because this idiot was saying that, basically the Tampa Bay players are a bunch of slouches. It was Tom Brady that's on his shoulders, has brought this team in. That's how dumb this guy is. Tom Brady is I'll tell you where Tom Brady's great. He was great in the game, but where he's even better, when he was a free agent, he went and looked at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He looked at it top to bottom, from the ownership on down. He's looking at, he sees when Tom Brady got brought into the New England Patriots, they already were a Super Bowl contending team.
Absolutely, with Bledsoe.
So they had player personnel. The whole thing was already a machine rolling. Absolutely. He's been around that. So he takes a look. He says, well, who out there? Denver Broncos, come on. Wake up. So he looks at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and he sees how they're building the team. Your sports talk radio wanted to get rid of Shaq Barrett. That's fine. We don't need him anyway. Tom Brady's looking at that and said, yeah, these are the kind of picks, the kind of team building, the football moves that I want to get on. So he's playing in the Super Bowl, and it looks like New England. I mean, the offensive line, it's just as if all the New England players took their uniforms off, put Buccaneers uniforms on, and it looked just like it did. It looked like Brady ball again, right?
I think no, thank you. I think I'm going to bring up 2 points real quick. I think number one, with the whole Brady situation, he pulled what Manning did back in 2013. Was it 2012? He did what Manning did. He looked at all the teams that were interested in him and looked from top bottom. That's why he picked Denver, because they were already set in place. There's actually 3 points I want to bring up. I'm sorry.
Keep going.
With the whole now, there's going to be people in the comment section, and they're going to say that Jameis Winston was surrounded by this core. But okay, that's what he was, a bridge quarterback. So Brady basically it's the same thing with Tyrod Taylor. They drafted Josh Allen. Yes, he's younger than Brady is, but Brady came in a situation where Brady's on top. Brady's on top of that whole foundation that they built through the draft and free agency. Okay? Now number 3. But I don't get it when it comes to man, I really wish we had linebackers like Devin White and Levante David. Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell are not even on that level. And if you still believe that,
they're not in the same universe.
No.
And that's why, we have to break off from fans that are just like, all they do is talk about Josie Jewell, Alexander Johnson. We've got to break out of that.
Absolutely.
And and granted, even though there's some complaints, you griped at me or whatever. The bottom line is we are getting more and more fans coming over saying, I'm tired of listening to the same garbage that has led us to the record and to where we've been, where we're going, where we're at. But let me grab Deshaun Watson before he goes down.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. When it comes to, I think I do have a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, we should have kept Shaq Barrett and drafted Quentin Nelson. That's where, I love Bradley Chubb. Don't get me wrong. I'm a supporter of Bradley Chubb, but just watching Shaq Barrett tonight, man, you could have scored huge in that year. You could have drafted a future Hall of Famer in Quentin Nelson, and you already have a guy in Shaq Barrett on the other side of Von Miller or whoever, and that's just it. That's where I think. That's how I'm
well, you got rid of Malik Jackson. Yeah, so you get rid of him.
Yes.
Yeah. So you get rid of Wade Phillips. You know what I'm saying? You're making anti-football moves. You're not building. Keep Wade Phillips, bring in maybe a protege to groom. So if Phillips wants to retire or whatever, there was none of that going on. Even when they brought, to be honest with you, let's just be honest here.
Okay.
When they brought in Peyton Manning, they should have already been thinking about the future. Yes, we got Peyton Manning, but we need to think about moving, where we're going after Peyton Manning. So let's use Peyton Manning as a bridge quarterback, right? Start drafting. We got these great players. If we just directly draft or even get up and coming people in free agency, DeMarcus Ware and the rest of these people can. Well, we had Shaq Barrett, right? So
he was an undrafted free agent.
Yeah. So we never groomed the next generation.
Can I just say this real quick? Even when we did have Peyton Manning, he was the one that was bringing in those free agents, and so was Wade Phillips. It wasn't Elway. It wasn't the scouting. Those drafts that they were doing when Peyton Manning was there, they were terrible.
Oh, yeah, they were. They were terrible. Yes.
So I didn't trust Elway to make those right moves. That's what I'm talking.
Was early warning signs. Those were the early warning bells going off.
Absolutely.
And so I would think that George Payton should take a look at this game.
Oh, absolutely.
Say, well, if Locke had some more NFL experience and he was behind Tampa Bay's line, I mean, he would have at least won the game. Would he have been as good as
he would have looked like Josh Allen?
I'm not going to debate that, but he definitely would have been better than Mahomes,
Yeah.
or Brady behind that same line. What's that?
Mahomes got destroyed.
Yeah. So, but again, like I said, put Mahomes behind the Tampa Bay offensive line.
Absolutely, he wouldn't have got destroyed like that. Brady would have got destroyed too.
It would have been the same thing. Tampa wins, but this time Brady's on the Chiefs. Probably in the hospital because he doesn't have the mobility that. But what I'm saying is, it's not the quarterback is just the quarterback.
Can I just say this? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, you're going. Sorry.
Brady would have never been able to save the Chiefs. He could not have done what he did with the Tampa behind that line. They would have got him killed. Absolutely. That doesn't make Brady a bad quarterback, but it's a team thing. It's not, these aren't gods. These are guys, okay? They're not gods of all time, okay? They're guys, and they need the player personnel around them, no matter who there is, because there's nobody that's going to tell me that Tom Brady behind that Kansas City offensive line would have won that game. Not even close. He would have got hospitalized.
Absolutely.
But go ahead.
Can we just end the discussion that Patrick Mahomes can't be beat, please? Because I just want to end this discussion real quick. Tampa Bay just showed you how to beat them. And when you have a good defensive line like when you have a good front seven, quite frankly, I can't, dude. I'm just telling you, when you have good middle linebackers like that, you don't have to worry about being exposed in the middle of the field. You don't have to worry about being exposed in the running game. You don't have to be exposed about being worried if they're going to get off their blocks or not. And Vita Vea, again, I can't take away what he did tonight. He is going to be totally excluded from everybody that they're going to talk about Brady.
Yeah, they'll go up that asshole, roll around in his shit, and yeah, it's like that with every Super Bowl. Oh, the quarterback, and they were hold on a second. They were talking to the Super Bowl Dallas Cowboys with Aikman, and the offense they were doing like an NFL films thing, and everybody was doing a round table, and Aikman was there too. And they said, well, this isn't Aikman's team. This was us as offensive linemen. This was our team. Everything was centered around us. And believe me, when you've played around big time line people, you just know it. You've been there and you know it. You know exactly. But that's not sexy. It's I mean, look at this. If Tampa was the baseball team, Kansas City was a baseball team. No airtime, right? No airtime. So they've turned quarterbacks into Disney princesses.
Absolutely.
And that's how everybody looks at the quarterback position. Disney princesses. So that's the world we live in. So we try to, like I said, our channel is GM centric. We're looking at this as a team sport. Yes, the quarterback is definitely an important position. It's definitely, but it's like a carpenter. Okay, I'm going to give you rocks and I'm going to give you some string to cut with. Go build me a house. And then I say to another carpenter, I said, look, I'm going to give you the state of the art tools, build me a house. What's going to happen? So that's how I think that we approach the game of football, me and you.
Absolutely. And I just want to pat ourselves on the back, both of ourselves on the back, because this game basically proved what we've been saying for the past, ever since you started doing this channel, and what I've been saying for the past 7 years is this is a recipe for success, and this is how you can build dynasties. If you do what the Patriots have done and the Tampa Bay's done, the Bills, the Colts, the Bills, Kansas City, etc. That's how you're going to have success in this league. It's not all about the quarterback. And I always say this to people. A musician isn't successful without its instrument. And the instrument is like your offensive line. Okay, I know some people, well, that's just a stupid analogy. Well, it's true.
That's why I use the carpenter too, because
exactly
the carpenter has all those tools.
Yours is probably much better analogy than mine, but we're not. It is what it is.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So but it's the singer. It's not. It doesn't have anything to do with the band. It's all the singer.
It's all Deshaun Watson. It's all Matthew Stafford.
Of course, without them, this organization is done. It's finished. And I've got every NFL team fan saying, why can't you give any of your quarterbacks a chance? You send me a graphic, and it literally looks like something out of a clown show. This thing of quarterbacks, boom, boom, like a picket fence, Of course,
we're the new Browns.
Oh, we're beyond the Cleveland Browns, and that's the thing is these fans haven't realized it. You're the Cleveland Browns, and you haven't realized it.
Well, they're the 2000s through 19 Cleveland Browns. That's what I'm not bashing anybody, okay?
Maybe the 1990s through the 2000s?
Al Davis?
Well, yeah. The
Raiders?
90 Raiders, yeah.
The Raiders.
Well, and don't tell me that Locke wasn't brought in and told to go vertical.
Steve Salami.
Vertical. Go vertical. So it wasn't all on Locke.
You know what? This is what Steve Salami he did a video of it. It was before the season. He's like, this offense is going vertical. Yeah. Like he did it in a short clip.
Yeah. He's
and you're the truth teller, Steve Salami.
Yeah, the truth teller. The truth, exactly.
But I gotta comprehend myself, because apparently I'm nowhere of all. I gotta comprehend myself.
Well, no, but you're right. They were pushing this go vertical, and then they're blaming him. Well, this all came from
Shocker.
Dove Valley. It all came from Dove Valley, and who was the bullhorn behind all that? Elway, exactly. Elway.
No, they didn't blame Locke. They also blamed Fangio.
And here's the thing too. I like the play design, and I'm thinking about Shermer the whole time. Shermer's crap play design. How about they put Gronkowski in on the right time and the right plays versus Shermer, who decides to make Fant just fade away into Nowheresville
because he barely uses his tight ends. Mike Munchak is the one that was. We've talked about this many times. When the tight end is used frequently, that's the Mike Munchak offense. Because if you go back and watch you can go back and watch the highlights You can go on YouTube and find him. Look up the Mike Munchak offense, and he's using 2 to 3 tight end sets. And then when you see the Pat Shurmur offense, it's 3 wide receiver sets and 1 tight end. And he's like, we're not going to Fant. We're going to go to Judy, or we're going to go to Hamler, or we're going to go to Patrick. You're going to go, and they're going to be crossing routes. And did you see when Brady in that offense was doing crossing routes, they were actually doing it correctly? We can't even do that correctly.
Well, and I think Munchak was not a big fan of getting rid of Scangarello.
Oh, no, I don't think so either.
Because I think those two were on the same page.
I don't think Fangio was either.
Well, I don't know if he was a part of that, but I know Elway was definitely a part of that. But I don't know, again, what he told Fangio about what offensive coordinator offense he was going to run and this kind of thing when he hired. I think there was something said to Fangio when he got hired about the offensive coordinator position.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And that's why Scangarello didn't translate well to Fangio. And, and then let's look at it this way. This is what I don't believe. I don't believe Fangio was pounding the table for go vertical. There's only one in Dove Valley who's pounding the table to go vertical, Mr. Davis, and that's John Elway.
And you think that you really think that you do not think that he has an eagle's eye view of this whole team now? Just guess what his title is now.
Dictator?
GM. Yeah, he's your dictator. He's your Al Davis tenfold. Okay, yeah. Can I just say this real quick to the Fangio? Like, I think what was said, and I think what really pissed Fangio off is he was lied to. Because you're the one that said in that deal, you worry about the defense and I'll worry about the offense. And he came to Denver and he's like, what are you doing? I think that is what was said in that meeting, and that's what duped Fangio and taking the Bronco job.
Well, I
really do.
He was told he was going to get a certain offensive coordinator, and it didn't happen. And it didn't happen. And
I agree with you.
And as the season wasn't that great. So when it wasn't going great, Fangio probably was at his door saying, I'm taking the rap for this. You said you were going to bring somebody in. So when did they let Scandro? It was at the end of the season, right?
2 weeks after the season.
Yeah, so they were just chomping at the bit to get rid of him.
And can I just say this? I actually liked the Rich Scangarello offense when Locke was in. When Locke was in, it was working to perfect because they were actually they were doing blocking. They were starting to do blocking schematics correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was against bad defenses. Well, you know what? It will craft your game. It doesn't matter. Well, it's still an NFL team. I don't care. It's still an NFL team.
Yeah, but the Broncos, no matter what, they're still straddled with subpar offensive line. Garrett Bowles. Okay,
but at least there wasn't free runners.
You got Garrett Bowles. Okay, he's serviceable, right? So
because they had to give all the resources to him.
Let me tell you, didn't Kansas City's left tackle look like Garrett Bowles out there?
Guess who it was too?
Who?
Von Miller feasted on him in Super Bowl 50. Reimers.
Oh, Reimers, that's right. You got a good, yeah.
He had a great game against Jason Pierre-Paul.
So yeah, that's what we're saying. This is it looks like Super Bowl 50 all over again.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, you know what? You deserve all the credit. It's not me. You deserve it because you were the lone voice out here before I even came on. You were the lone voice out here saying that, hey, this team it's not about the quarterback. You need to build this team from the ground out. You were the first person to bring it up before I even started getting it out there too.
That's why
I give this man all the credit in the world. Don't give me all the credit. You give him all the credit.
I created the channel to say there needs to be a cultural change.
Absolutely.
These feel-good fans are not a part of that cultural change. Sports talk radio is not a part of that cultural change.
Don't say that. You're bashing him. Don't say that. You got to be nice.
No, I'm going to bash him. I'm going to bash him because they've got to do. The Broncos have to get back to being what made the Broncos was I mean,
Absolutely.
go back to the 60s and through the 70s, building up into it was team building, okay? Then we got Elway, right? We had the Orange Crush defense and everything, and then we got Elway. Okay, then we rode that up, and unfortunately, we didn't really build the team around him like we should have. I think there's a lot of, in the biographies and autobiographies, that have a lot to talk about that. We were building the team up. When we put in Craig Morton, we let the team go down the hill because we had Elway. I mean, that was that's the thing. This is what I learned. See, I was going to the game when Charlie Johnson was quarterback, okay? And Charlie Johnson was a decent quarterback. They brought Craig Morton in. I was there for that. They brought in Elway, and the mentality was, with Dan Reeves, it was Dan Reeves who said, hey, we got Elway. We just, get ourselves a defense, work on the defense, run the ball, right? We never really built the team around his strengths.
And that's when every time we went to the Super Bowl against these good teams that were well organized, we would get destroyed.
So Pat Bowlen learned a lesson. He learned a lesson and started building the team around Elway, and voila, they go to the Super Bowls against Green Bay and Atlanta, and they win them. Okay? And I think that may have been kind of the problem in the Super Bowl against Seattle. We just kind of had a team that wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah, I think they were almost there. I think Super Bowl 50 was a culmination of that.
Was the culmination, yeah.
I think it was the culmination of the stars aligned, basically. So that's something Orlando Franklin has brought up, actually, truthfully, because he brought up a great point when I was listening to him this week. I'm not a big fan of Orlando Franklin, but he did say this. He's like, yeah, we weren't ready in Super Bowl 48, but when he didn't play in Super Bowl 50, but he's like, yeah, I saw the team almost primed and ready to win this, a big one, and the stars aligned, and that's what he said, and at least he said that right.
Well, that's what Tampa Bay is all about right now with their win. The stars all align. They built up. Tom Brady came to the team, and they're poised to only get better. They're
a young team.
That's what I thought. They're a young team, and
they're not
as long
old.
as they keep that offensive line intact, if they can, I mean, that's going to be paramount. Because if Brady is behind an offensive line that Mahomes was behind today, he'll be out of football quick. They'll kill him.
Yeah, he won't play till he's 45.
He won't play the next season because I'm telling you, had he been behind the Kansas City Chiefs line, they would have killed him. His own Tampa Bay defense would have killed him. Had he been in a Chiefs uniform playing quarterback. The only thing that kept even Mahomes alive is the fact that he is actually mobile, even with his foot.
Yeah, but he's not God.
No, God, no, he's not. That's just it. None of these quarterbacks are God. Brady would have looked really like crap had he been. It's those lines, man. They are the goose that lays the golden eggs for all these quarterbacks.
I think so. Everybody's been propping up this balloon about the quarterbacks. I think our little needle popped that tonight because of what we saw from the Tampa Bay's offense and defensive line and the linebackers.
Absolutely.
I think we just popped it.
This you can ignore it all you want, but this Super Bowl screamed lines. The tale of two different lines.
Absolutely.
Tampa versus Kansas City.
Patrick Mahomes was exposed. Because you guys have been saying,
let's be real.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Let's be real here. We can sit here and say he's been exposed, but you could have put Locke behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he would have won that game. You could have put Russell Wilson behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He would have won that game. You know
Absolutely.
What I'm saying? Or you could have put those quarterbacks behind the Kansas City Chiefs, and they all would have been exposed.
I know. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%.
I think when we say exposed, we're not saying that Mahomes is bad. We're just saying the truth is quarterbacks are only as good as the offensive line in front. Kansas City had all their starting front offensive lines. Tampa Bay was shut out. This would have been a different game.
This could have been it. Yeah, exactly. This would have been a different ball game.
This would have been a different ball game. So
It could have been closer.
Emphasize the importance of lines, and we're not talking about lines. We're these people think we're like on coke or something because we're they're obsessed with lines. And Mark Schlereth is probably the only one on the Broncos channel that just keeps and they shut him out all the time. But this point just keeps coming up over and over and over again.
He's got worse over the past 2 years.
Well, well, that's what happens when you're in here. Well, and you can't go outside of here. Oh yeah, balls. They cut the balls off. Yeah, no, he won't say anything about Elway.
Nope.
But so anyway, I just wanted to harp on the lines, and I will kind of title it with A Tale of Two Lines, because all you're going to hear. I mean, everybody's already heard enough about Brady, so I'm presenting something different. If you want to go and crawl up Brady's asshole and roll around in his shit, you can go to any number of sports outlets and go right up there and roll around all that shit and smear it all over yourself. Oh, quarterback, I'm in heaven.
Oh my gosh. That's what they're going to say. It's what they're going to do. They're just going to crawl up there.
That's how they promote it all. That's how they get the likes. That's why I'll probably only get a couple hundred people watch this, because they all.
You'll be called a basher.
Say all you want to.
I am being such an asshole. I gotta stop before I get hate.
Yeah, well, I'm not worshiping. I'll be excommunicated. I'll be excommunicated from the Church of Quarterbacks.
Oh my gosh!
I've
already done that.
I know I'm not worshiping quarterbacks, so
I just think going into this offseason, if you don't do, it's not even what we've said, but if you go in with a mindset, please, George Payton, if you go in with a mindset that, hey, we're going to take what Tampa Bay's done it's not what they've done this year. It's what they've done over the past 3 to 5 years. They've been building this team quietly. And they stuck. Okay, maybe there was a reason they stuck with Jameis Winston, because we're gonna build everything around him. We'll let him go, and we'll bring somebody in. That's what the Bills did. That's what the Chiefs did. That's what the Colts did. This is how you're supposed to do it.
Well,
Locke can be that
is perfect. Is the perfect quarterback for the Broncos because it settles you down like you do in a game. You run the ball to settle yourself down. It settles them down. The worst case scenario, he becomes a bridge quarterback.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine. Everybody thinks I worship Locke. No, I just think that running a guy like this out of town is not going to solve your problems.
Well, I think this is the reason why people like Von Miller have a problem. And I think this has been a problem for a long time because
absolutely,
there's the one guy that was with the Broncos that came out and told the truth about it's just a pit of negativity inside Dove Valley right now. It's been created. And look at Judy. Fragrantly bashing his own quarterback, as he drops the ball all over the place.
Can I just say this? I know Jerry Judy, I'm not going to bash him.
I see his autograph on your shirt.
Yeah. Jerry Judy. Yeah, Jerry Duty. Can I just say this? I'm not bashing the kid. He has good talent. He's a good route runner, but dude, you can't. I don't want players that have a middle school mindset. I want players that are mentally like willing to run through a brick wall for their teammates. I don't think Jerry Judy's that. I think he's like your typical, your typical Odell Beckham's, where he's going to throw you under the bus. I get it. Jerry Judy's a great talent, but you had a chance to get Tristan Wirfs. You had a chance to get these other players. Javon Kinlaw that I wanted.
Wait a minute. My eyeballs told me something else. I saw Tyreek Cleveland looking 10 times better than him.
Don't bring that up.
I didn't see that, huh?
Drops one pass and he gets kicked out of the game, but Jerry Judy can drop 5 to 10 passes and he can still be in the no accountability. No accountability.
and sit
No
there and
accountability.
text his friend. I got to tell you one thing before I go. I just really wish I was a kid again. When we played, the best football I ever played was we call it, you call it sandlot.
Yeah, you've told me this. Yep.
Yeah, I mean it was better than any of the organized football I played, and the reason I liked it is because we played a lot of what's called single wing. I mean, we played, as it turned out, I didn't even realize it until I was older, but we used to play old leatherneck football where you had two quarterbacks on the offense. You never punted. Did you ever punt when you played sandlot football? You never punted, did you?
No.
So on fourth down,
it's schoolyard football. It's fun.
Schoolyard football. Well, it was single wing because we had like two quarterbacks. One was, back. Well, you got your quarterback, but you also got your tailback playing quarterback.
Yeah.
But he can also punt too. So I mean, this is the kind of football that So when I look at quarterbacks, I'm like, yeah, just there's more to all the moving parts than just one guy. And
absolutely.
I mean, it's great if you have a Tom Brady on your team. It's good for the team psych.
Can I just say this? I'm sorry for interrupting you, but can I just say this about Tom Brady? And I know it's not about the quarterbacks, but he's a damn good competitor, and I do respect what he's done. I know that he's been helped along the way. I know that people will say, well, that Super Bowl is rigged with all the flags, but man, dude, for him to win 7 rings, that is tough to do in a sport like football. It is hard to do that.
Well, you got but there is asterisks with.
That's what I said. yes, exactly. But I mean, he's a damn good competitor.
He didn't single-handedly take a Tampa Bay team.
No, exactly. I'm just saying.
Like Stokely wants to make that out to be.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that, but for him to still be playing because of the offensive lines that he's played behind,
that's to me the story.
Yes, absolutely. But
the story
you have I gotta give respect to respect's due to Tom Brady. He is a hell of a competitor. He does. When Tyrann Mathieu was getting into Tom Brady's face, I love that. I love that because Tom Brady was John Beck and he didn't take any crap from Tyrann Mathieu.
No,
I'm just saying that's the competitiveness I like about Tom Brady. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rave about
Kansas City.
What a joke.
Well, the NFL should have been flagging their defenders throughout the season because Kansas City is a grabby, pulley. I'm telling you,
absolutely, they're a dirty team.
Twice, and even the games I watch when they don't play the Broncos, they're constantly grabbing all the time. And they should have been flagged throughout the season a lot more than they did.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I don't want to hear Chief fans crying about flags because they didn't get called. Now, I'll say it on the other side when Tom Brady back in the day of the New England, back when he was just starting, and they were making Tom Brady to be the poster Army guy.
Absolutely.
When they forced him from an Army. They did that stupid morph thing after 9/11. I was like, okay, I get what's going on now. But I mean, if you barely even touched a Tom Brady receiver, there goes that PI. There goes that.
Yep. I agree. Absolutely.
Living in New York, I had to watch all that and just like, ugh.
But anyway, I do like what Brady had. Brady, he has taken advantage of it. But he's taken advantage of it in a way where he's gotten better in his game. It's not like, I'm just gonna, not get better at my game, and he's gotten better behind. He has taken advantage of those things, like you've said, but he's not taking advantage of it in a way like I've seen other quarterbacks do, where they're just like, I'm gonna throw my teammates under the bus. It's all me. It's all me. It's all me. He does credit his offensive line. That's why he's so hard on them.
He takes them out. He takes them out.
Yes,
he treats them really like royalty.
Absolutely, just like Troy Aikman should have done back in the day.
Well, yeah. Well, I think they were all round tabling, and he said, "Yeah, this wasn't my team." Even admitted Troy Aikman actually even admitted that. But I'll tell you where Tom Brady really. The smartest move wasn't on the field. It's when he sat down and looked at what teams to go to, and he picked Tampa, and he picked him for all the reasons we're talking about. There is no Deshaun Watson on Tampa, but he sees the team building going on.
Absolutely.
And I believe truly that unless Deshaun Watson wants to be here as a place card holder and leave, he has no interest to be in this clown outfit.
No, I wouldn't. If I was a quarterback, I'd be going to the Colts. I'd be running to the Colts.
Well, he'd really be sticking it to the Texans if he did that.
I know in division, but I'd be like, I want to be behind that offensive line where I'm protected and I don't have to worry about free runners.
Well, it looks like more of a Jets thing. And you know what? If that's really where he wants,
do what you gotta do.
If that's really where he wants to be, maybe he will make that into a really good. But I just feel that if he isn't where he wants to be, he's not going to be there long.
Absolutely.
That's why I don't really trust him coming here. I would trust him if it was a team he really or an organization he wanted to stick with. Then I could trust him. I just don't believe at all that this is an organization he'd want to stick with.
Well, I think he carries too much baggage and he blames his coaches for everything. And
well,
I don't want that here.
Yes. And I think that is going to rear its head. It's going to rear its head again. I do.
I think it will. I believe it will too.
Because there's too many people out there worshiping him, you know? Yeah. And the thing is that in sitting down in the comment section, I got to thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? He really hasn't done what all this hype that he's being hyped. He hasn't really done enough.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To get that. Yes, he's got it's almost like it's the potential thing. You know,
I think why a lot of people like him is because he's a stat filler. He's a stats filler, and he's an analytics filler, and that's why people like him so much.
Except for except for the box that counts the most, the W.
The W's.
Oh, but it's everything else. But how come that you don't say that for other quarterbacks?
Yeah, why can't you just Lock went 4-1 down the stretch last year? But he didn't do that. It was all Elway.
So, yeah. All right, we better wrap it up.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so do that game film on comparing those linemen, the ones, that like Casey versus replacements.
I'll do Casey and Josie Jewell and Shelby Harris compared to this Buccaneers team. I mean, it was clearly obvious. Or I'll do the Bills.
No, we were going to go. You had picked out players that we could get. Yeah. I kind of want to keep it in that. Although, yes, I mean, I think it goes without saying. I mean, they should understand. Yes, but I would really like to show them because the picks. They always say there's never any picks out there when there really are. So if I can show film and then go say, look, I'm going to click you back to the film. Shut your mouth, and I will tell you, shut your fucking mouth. Shut your mouth and look at the film. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm sick and tired of hearing saying there's nobody was out there. Check out Casey versus this guy. Check out Jewell versus this guy.
Yeah, and just to put a cherry on top, and I'll do this for you, I'll do the Jordan Phillips film, or try and find the Jordan Phillips film, just for you, because I know how much you love Jordan Phillips. I love him too.
It would have been Jordan Phillips versus Casey.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that for you. I'll try and do that for you.
Yeah, and get not that Casey had his time, but as always, Elway gets the name that's already done and been there and done.
Just like with Boye and Gordon. Just like exactly. So.
All right.
Alrighty.
Take care, man.
Yep. Stay safe.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah. I'll try to.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.